Well, so what I'm hearing is that despite all of this talk that Donald Trump and the Republican Party have about driving down energy costs, their first decisions are actually to drive up energy costs, including prices at the pump across the United States.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Apparently, Democrat gaslighting produces zero emissions. We all want clean air. We all want clean water. We all want to reduce pollution. But we also don't want to send our countrymen to the poorhouse trying to pay for sunshine.
Wow. You don't see reality crash into a talking point like that very often in Congress. If you've ever wondered what happens when ideology runs headfirst into the real world, you just got your answer. Representative John James, a combat veteran, by the way, completely dismantled the fantasy the squad has been living in. Stay with us, because we're about to break down exactly how he took AOC's argument apart, piece by piece. You are not going to want to miss this.
On energy costs, their first decisions are actually to drive up energy costs, including prices at the pump across the United States. And that has knock-on effects across the entire economy, right? These prices are not just contained. They're not just hiking prices on oil and gas. Oil and gas prices will then hike up prices on groceries and pretty much any good that gets transported, as well as housing and construction, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and so we are looking at almost an all-economy increase in prices, and that has also been backed up in previous price changes as well. In fact, oil production, and what we've seen is that in 2023, and some of these gas price increases, we saw knock-on effects across the entire economy before, right, with gas?
Yes.
Okay, so I think what we need to really hone in on here is the fact that what we're seeing is that the Trump administration is saying one thing, but doing another. And if the Trump administration is promising to lower energy prices, it's important for us to ask, why are they making decisions to do the opposite?
Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Michigan's 10th District for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Apparently, Democrat gaslighting produces zero emissions. But what does their radical agenda mean for constituents in my districts and your districts who pay more at the pump, who pay more for groceries? Folks in Southeast Michigan have experienced their jobs being extinct, being shipped to other states, being shipped to other countries because Green New Deal woke policies do not work in the real world. Let's look at this from a 30,000-foot view. Over the past 4 years, every American has footed a higher gas bill, higher energy costs, and rising prices to keep their cars running and their homes heated. Under the Biden-Harris administration, they totally bent over to the radical left. We stopped producing cleaner, affordable energy in America to fit a narrative that only serves coastal elites and the rich in New York and California. What did this lead to? Our strategic petroleum reserves hit lows we haven't seen since I was a baby. That meant U.S. relying on energy that was unclean, energy that I would note are from dictators and despots in Moscow and Beijing and Tehran. Here's the inconvenient truth for my friends on the left. Energy produced and developed here in America is cleaner, it's safer, and it doesn't threaten our national security. In fact, it bolsters it. And what's worse, relying on our adversaries for energy means American jobs go down, not up. My constituents in the Detroit area are all too familiar with this, seeing the reckless policy effects of the EV mandates. Another failed policy billable to the Biden administration is importing sour crude, which has funded our adversaries. And we talk about infrastructure investments on the left side. Well, how about shutting down the Keystone Pipeline, which got rid of 11,000 union jobs? Now, the Democrats' Green New Deal agenda is the grim reaper for American jobs and actually clean energy. Being able to actually move forward into a future where we can all have cheaper, safer, cleaner energy is our goal. All of the above is the approach. Last year, I spoke on the House floor about how Biden's war on LNG was going to harm Michigan specifically. We have 1.1 trillion cubic feet in underground storage, which is one-eighth of the entire nation's natural gas storage capacity. Given DTE and consumers' baseload requirements that are increasing over the years versus the regulations in Michigan, we've been dealing with heavy-handed restrictions on building additional natural gas facilities and the supporting infrastructure requirements that we need to convey that safely with less power outages across the state. With a Republican House, Republican Senate, and White House, what can this Congress do to scale up natural gas as a reliable source? Again, Mr. McCown.
Well, there's several things we can do. Number one is we can stop the war on fossil fuels. We can have revised permitting. We can invoke public-private partnerships, loan guarantees. Some of the very same things that have been done for the renewable industry could be done to expand our natural gas or other fossil fuel industry too. It should be a level playing field for everybody.
We all want clean air. We all want clean water. We all want to reduce pollution. But we also don't want to send our countrymen to the poorhouse trying to pay for sunshine.
Okay, let's take a breath because that was satisfying. And honestly, we see this play out all the time. You've got AOC doing what she does best, flipping reality on its head and insisting up is down and down is up. She starts by trying to sell the idea that cheap, reliable American energy is somehow driving inflation, that producing our own oil is bad for the economy. It's pure academic theory, the kind that sounds clever in a lecture hall but collapses the second it meets the real world. She goes on about spillover effects, desperately trying to pin high prices on Republicans. But then John James steps in and he doesn't just push back. He exposes the entire charade. What makes this moment so good is that James refuses to play along. He calls it exactly what it is, Democrat gaslighting. And he's absolutely right. You cannot tell people in Michigan, Ohio, or Pennsylvania that their bills are rising because we produce too much energy. They know better. They see the jobs disappearing. They see the factories shutting down. James represents Michigan's 10th district. He's actually on the ground. He knows the Green New Deal isn't a strategy, it's a job killer. And then comes the national security argument, the real nail in the coffin. It is absolute insanity that we're begging dictators in Moscow and Beijing for energy while sitting on massive resources right here at home. James lays out the hypocrisy perfectly. We shut down clean American natural gas, only to import dirtier energy from our adversaries, all to appease climate activist ideology. It makes zero sense. He brings up the Keystone XL pipeline, 11,000 union jobs wiped out with the stroke of a pen. That's real food off real tables. And for what? So coastal elites can feel morally superior while working families foot the bill. That closing line was legendary. We don't want to send our countrymen into poverty trying to pay for sunshine and rainbows. That's the entire debate in one sentence. AOC is selling fantasies. John James is worried about whether American families can afford to heat their homes this winter. Energy independence. National security. American jobs. John James didn't just win this exchange, he completely dismantled the logic of the far left.